welcome to the very first in a new series of podcasts from Advance Union, Advance on Air. My name's Graham Hutchins from Advance Union. I'm the Marketing Communications Officer. And to kick us off on our first podcast is the big man, the top boss, the big cheese. It's Jim Leonard, the General Secretary of Advance Union. Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Very good, Graham. Thank you. That's a very kind introduction there. Thank you very much for that.
You're more than welcome. So, Jim, you've been with Advance for a number of years and Santerre. Can you give us a little bit of background and tell us about yourself?
Yes, certainly. So, started off in the branch network back in 2001, and became a local rep very quickly. Signed following that, I became an NEC rep, served on the NEC for a couple of terms, and had a real good time there. Really enjoyed supporting members locally. Became the chair of the NEC following a period of time as an area as a NEC committee member. And then a lot of people watching the call will remember when the acquisition of the other banks happened. Following that, there was an opportunity for me to come on board as a full-time officer under the then General Secretary Linda Rolfe. Started doing casework, that kind of thing, and eventually worked my way up to the role of Assistant General Secretary. Following Linda's decision to retire in July, I stood for election, and very happy to say that I received incredible support from members, and became elected as General Secretary of the Union in July last year.
So you really have been about quite a bit within the union and the bank. You know, you've been there, done it, and by the looks of it, you got the hoodie to go with it. So, couldn't really say there's anyone better, more experienced than yourself. So yeah, good to have you with us today, Jim. Right, I'm going to dive straight in because there's been a lot of change within the bank recently, a lot of press about branch closures, fraud operations transferring over to concentrics. So what can you tell us? What's been going on?
So yeah, I mean, the first thing I think to make clear is Advance are absolutely and fiercely opposed to the to anything that erodes members' jobs. We understand really clearly that members, behind every member there's a family that relies on that income, and we are absolutely opposed to the outsourcing and the offshoring of any work, but also the reduction of jobs that impact our members. If we take those, you mentioned a couple of big programs there, and we'll pick them off in turn. So, the branch network closures that were announced earlier on in the year, there was a lot of press interest around those, and it's not been good news for members. Advance went on record in a number of publications to say that we were disappointed with the number of redundancies, disappointed with the number of branch closures, and disappointed with the number of redeployment opportunities. But we have an obligation to support members through with the tools that we have. Now we can't change the bank's approach. It's their business to run, but what we can do is support members through that process. So we're using things like the job swap to enable members to get in touch with us to say, actually, I'd like to stay if I'm impacted, or actually I'm at the end of my career. If there's somebody who wants to stay, then I'm happy to swap. So we've proactively gone out to all of our members to say, look, if you're in that situation, we're really keen to help. We want to make sure that the people that want to continue their career with Santander to have the opportunity to do that, and maybe those that have come to the end and would like to leave with a package. Let's see what we can do to support those members and get good outcomes in what is a really difficult scenario for people.
Yeah. What's the take up been like on the role swap?
So we've had a real interest in that. So there's lots of people that are really keen to stay, and again, as I say, people that are keen to maybe take an exit with a package at the end of their career. So there's been a lot of interest in that, and we're currently working through that at the moment. So any members who have expressed an interest in swapping should be hearing from us in the next day or so.
So there's quite a lot of work going on behind the scenes for members that perhaps they don't necessarily know or hear about. I know there's been quite a number of webinars for impacted members which have gone down very well, but there seems to be a lot of work going on behind the scenes. What can you tell us about that?
So a good example actually would be the transfer of roles to concentrics under TUPE legislation.
Mm,
So there's been, we've done an awful lot of work behind the scenes there to try to again, this is a situation that the members have told us that they are not happy with. People are invested in people become invested in the brand that they work for. They
of
feel part of
course.
the Santander
Mm,
family. And the move to concentrics, members have told us that they don't, that it's not something that they're excited about. We've made representations to the bank around our disappointment around outsourcing, and particularly given the fact that in the not too distant future, Concentrix plan to offshore that work. So there's a number of reasons why Advance have been really really vocal around our disappointment in the bank's approach. But again, what our responsibility is to support members. So
mm,
what we wanted to do was to we held a webinar to understand some of the concerns that members had. We really wanted to get to the bottom of the questions that members had in this uncertain period of time, and provide certainty. So to that end, we arranged independently of the bank and to meet with some of the senior HR people within
mm,
Concentrix to put members' concerns directly to them. And it was important that we did that kind of early doors, because there's a number of people who will be impacted will know Concentrix are not intending to recognise any union going forward. So whilst we'll be able to continue to support on an individual basis, we needed to strike while the iron was hot in order to use the collective leverage that we have.
mm,
So we met with Concentrix following the webinar with our members to understand what their concerns were, and had a positive dialogue with Concentrix. So they were very very open in terms of the responses that they gave to us. Agreed to share policies, communication plans, engagement strategies, etc. And we were able to share all of that with our members. So we sent out a comprehensive Q&A document. We made available the engagement plan, and our members would have been the first people to see that, because Concentric shared it with us the afternoon that they shared it with the bank, and it was on our website that evening.
mm,
So our members would have seen that hot off the press, and would have been the first people who were impacted to be able to have access to that information.
yeah.
We followed that up with a further webinar to essentially just to wash up, to make sure that first of all, people's questions were answered, and just to see if it was if it generated any further questions or anything like that. And we received good feedback from those webinars, were well attended from members, and we just tried to help.
Yeah, you mentioned that our friends of the press. I mean, there have been quite a few press articles and a lot of speculation around the exit from the UK market for Santander. Is there any truth in that? What's going on?
So we did. So again, these rumours have kind of circulated again following the position with consumer finance. It was in the press recently,
And it's just
and
and it's just rumours, yeah.
yeah, absolutely, just rumours. Yeah, so when it first reared its head, we moved very very quickly to meet with Wani, who assured us that the UK remains a core market for the bank, and actually that was borne out from the comments that came from Anna Botein's office a few days after we'd met with Wani and communicated that to members. So it is just speculation. We've received really clear assurances that the UK remains a core market for the bank.
Yeah. What's the Advance Union's relationship with the press? Is it fairly solid? Do we get asked to comment or share information? What's the process, would you say?
So we tend to offer reactive statements rather than proactive press statements. We did release a press statement in relation to the branch closures, and we weren't approached on the other programs that we've touched on today. But we work, but we do what we can in that space. So it's not just with the press, but also I'm meeting with a couple of MPs later on in the month to talk about how branch closures impact local communities, and how
Mm,
we can work to improve that situation kind of externally as well. So there's a lot goes on that maybe isn't seen, but we're working hard to try to make things, to try to improve the situation that members find themselves in, and so to try to build for something, something better going forward.
mm. Yeah, say again, what's going on behind the scenes? It seems to be quite a lot. Yourself and your team are getting involved in. Let's turn to the union itself and its members. I mean, what makes a strong, solid union, would you say? I mean, you've been around this environment for a number of years, and you've worked with other unions, such as TUC, the CWU. You know, what is the the strength in a union? Would you say?
So there's a simple answer to that, Graham, and the union's strength comes from its members. At its core, a union is just a collective of workers that want to get together and try to make things better. And it's a way of organising that voice so that it's unified. And that's it. That's it. We
Mm,
get our strength from our numbers, from being able to be a truly representative and a truly collective voice. Advanced Union has long had the strapline "Your informed voice at work,"
mm,
and we get that through regular engagement with members, but through representing a good number of members. We want to be the collective voice, and we do that by making sure that we've got good membership density in lots of different areas, and
mm,
it's one of those funny things. So we try to publicise what we do as much as we possibly can. We're active on our social media sites. We've started to improve the level of communication that are going out to members, and hopefully members will start to feel that there's been a bit of an uplift in the quality of the communications that we're sending out. But ultimately, still the number one reason that people don't join unions is because they weren't asked to join a union. And we're a small union. We've got a very small central team, so it's very much the responsibility of all members of all reps to go out there and ask non-members to join and talk to them about becoming a union member. Because as I
mm.
say, the more people that we have as members, the louder our collective voice becomes.
Yeah.
And we recognise that it's not, people are busy, they've got a day job to do, etc. But we want to, it's probably a good time to reference the fact that we are running a recruit to member campaign at the moment, and the way that people can take advantage of that is simply to recruit two members who stay for more than 2 months, and the person that you recruit just needs to stick your name into the form, and then once that happens, for every two members that are recruited that remain for 2 months, everybody, the recruiter will get £20. So we want to show appreciation for people that go above and beyond what their day job is, and who talk to people around the union, who positively advocate what we do, because as I say, the more members we have, the stronger we are.
Mm. Is there any limit on how many members can recruit, or
No,
is it
no,
capped?
absolutely. No cap on that. So, if you can recruit as many people as you can, and for every two that you recruit that stay for 2 months, that's £20 in your pocket.
Yeah, I would also saw that if you recruit a minimum of 10, you'll be put into like a draw to win an additional pot of money. I think it's £250. So that again, another good incentive for members to, the more you recruit, the more you earn, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. We're just
Yeah,
keen to show appreciation for the work that people do on behalf of Advance.
yeah. There's been a lot of activity from the union around reps. There's been quite a big recruitment drive. How's that gone?
I mean, we're really pleased with how that's gone. Actually, it's been a sustained campaign over the last few weeks, and it's really driven engagement. So again, we've increased our rep base from somewhere in the region of 55 to 71 as it currently stands, which is, we're absolutely delighted with that. And I think one of the other thing that I found really encouraging is that the reasons people are becoming reps are kind of many varied, but we're hearing lots of the right reasons. So wanting to help support members in my area, wanting to be able to kind of to have a voice in this forum or that forum, so I can give the views of members within this business area to the senior people. We want people wanting to
Mm,
make things better for the collective, and that's really great to see. And the other thing that I've been really encouraged with is that we started to attract reps at different S bands as well. So we've got very good density in our S1s and S2 two bands, and we've always struggled a little bit at the S3 to S5 bands. But as a result of the recruitment campaign for reps, we now have representatives at every single S band. And again, that's something that will resonate with people that remember the campaign that we ran back in July, around we're the recognised union for S bands 1 to 5. We really want to make sure that we truly represent our colleagues in the senior levels as well as at the S1 and S2 level, and being able to attract representatives at all levels is something that it tells me that message is kind of landing.
Yeah, I heard a rumor. I don't know whether this is true or not. I suspect not. That if you're an S3, 4, 5, and you join the union as a rep, it could hinder your career. Any truth in that, Jim?
No, I mean I would say quite the opposite. So when we took over the as general secretary, there were we I went out to all members, all reps to talk about how do we want the union to operate, and the values of partnership and collaborative working were very very strong in the representations that were made from at that time, and so we built that into our core values,
Mm,
and far from being a hindrance to a career, I would see I'd see this as being an enhancement. It shows engagement, a willingness to go above and beyond to support the wider team, not just what you're doing, but the wider team, the wider Santander community through being an engaged union rep, exhibiting the right behaviours that we've all signed up to, we've all agreed to, and that's members right the way up to general secretary level to the administration team within the union. Everybody had the opportunity to feed into that, and we built these collective behaviours and values, and adhering to those the culture that we're building will absolutely enhance your ability to proceed within your
mm.
career. At the
Okay.
very least, as well, it gives you the opportunity to network with maybe some of the more senior managers that you wouldn't necessarily see in your day-to-day job, and presenting yourself in the right way on behalf of your members in those forums is a great way to show what you're about.
So you say there's been around about 20 new reps on the back of this recruitment drive that we've done, which is great. The more reps, the better. I guess the reps are the link between the members and the union. They're the guys, the boots on the ground, if you will, that can speak to members. That they're their insight and can help. So we've got these new members in. Explain the journey that they will take now that they've signed up, they've submitted their paperwork. What happens next? Talk us through, say, the next 12 months. What will they see?
So we're designing a training program internally to upskill people on some of the internal processes, and we're also a TUC affiliated union, which means that all reps can take advantage of the education opportunities that you can access through the TUC. So as a matter of course, we would want all of our representatives to complete the TUC Stage 1 representative course, which is a very basic grounding in all things representative.
Mm,
So looking at collective negotiation, looking at collective bargaining, looking at individual representation, etc. So that provides a union overview, if you like,
mm,
and then that will be supplemented by the internal programs that we're designing and delivering at the moment. In fact, tomorrow we're meeting with the new reps, and that'll be a great opportunity to introduce them to some of the more seasoned representatives,
mm,
because we are a community, and it's around if you don't know the answer, somebody will. Who do I ask?
mm.
Let's make sure that people kind of know the faces,
Yeah,
etc.
you've got that
Uh,
support network in place.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so how long would you say from once they signed up to Brett to be out on the floor and dealing perhaps with member issues, member cases? How does that look like for new reps?
But it's going to be a very individual journey for all representatives. So people will have different levels of experience coming into the role. I mentioned before that we've got people at all S bands. So I suppose a good example would be maybe disciplinary hearings. So we've got representatives who would have sat on at the other side of the table through those
Mm,
processes, and will
mm,
need very little in the way of upskilling to support members from a union perspective. We'll have other people who will be keen to do a great job for members who have had no exposure to that kind of thing before, and there will be a program that the people will go through, first of all, upskilling and training, observations
mm,
and coaching, before finally being signed off. So there's not really a defined kind of time frame. First of all, you have to want to do it. And
mm,
then we need to be able to provide the training and identify what training you need, and how long that takes. So it's going to be a very, very individual journey. But that's not the only thing that new reps can do. So there's a variety of options for people in terms of their union career. So that would range from becoming more involved in the kind of governance, maybe looking
mm,
at in the future at an NEC role, or maybe they have a passion for recruitment and actually want to spread that word to other members,
Yeah.
or sorry, other non-members, and so there's work that can be done in that space. And we're looking to agree a kind of an enhancement to the facilities agreement as well, so give people some actual time to get this done, because we understand, I mean, nobody's got any bandwidth at the moment within the bank. Everybody's very, very busy, particularly with the kind of the everyone leaning in towards a more high performance culture.
Mm.
Spare time is at a premium. So we're in the process of agreeing an enhancement to our facilities agreement, which
And
will allow.
if sorry, Jim, if I can just touch on the facility, what is the facilities agreement for those that don't know?
So the facilities, back in the facilities agreement is essentially, so as a union representative, you're entitled to paid time off to undertake union activities and union duties. There is a subtle difference between the two, but for the purposes of the call, work that you do on behalf of the union. Now, at the moment, we're in the process of enhancing that agreement with the bank, and hope we'll have an exciting announcement around that around the time of our conference, which is the 8th to 11th of June.
Okay, so yeah, interest. So it's a watch this space, but it's an interesting one that you say about the reps. Becoming, it's not about it is about representing other members and being there and being that link, but it's also an opportunity for somebody to learn new skills. Communication, your organisation skills, your negotiation skills. It's not a right. You're a rep, off you go. There's a lot of support and training behind it, and you're never too never too old to learn new tricks. And I know that we do have some older reps that have applied in this new tranche of applications that are more experienced. So it just goes to show that you're never too old to learn. And
Absolutely,
these
yeah.
and these skills are transferable across other departments and other businesses. And you touch on the conference as well, Jim, coming up early June. Um, it's a 3-day conference, or 2.5 days. A lot of things are discussed. I know members can submit motions to be discussed, and we've got a lot of guest speakers coming in as well. But on the back of the conference, what are the deliverables for the union to the membership?
I mean, the first thing I mean, conference is a really exciting time for us. So this is going to be the very first kind of real union conference that Advanced Union have ever held. So, people, members, representatives that have been around for a while will remember the seminars that we've done on a kind of biannual basis. But this is the first time that we've operated a real conference where every member has the opportunity to submit motions to conference for debate. And the outputs of those, essentially, this is going to drive our strategy for the next 2 years. So
Mm,
we're going to talk about, everything's on the table, to be honest. So what is our position on the green agenda, for example, some of
mm,
the kind of bigger ticket issues.
yeah, yeah,
What about pay on promotion would be another. What's our view on that? Is the policy right? What should Advance be pursuing from the bank in the next 12 to 18 months? What are our culture and values right? We got those together, as I said, following the election. They've been embedded for a year now. Are they still fit for purpose?
mm,
So there's a real breadth of topics that the conference is going to be reviewing, debating, and as I say, from the outputs from that will be, this will be our blueprint for the next 18 months to 2 years.
yeah. So what about the guest speakers that we've got coming on? Who are they, and what's kind of the flavour of their presentations, if you know?
So we've got again people from a variety of places. So I guess probably it's really important to call out that really delighted to have our colleagues in the CWU join us,
Mm,
because we work closely with our colleagues in the CWU, and it's really delighted to kind of to enhance that relationship by inviting them to conference to talk about the benefits of the two unions working together. We want the same things. We represent our members are no different to their members. The closer that we can work as two unions, I think the better it is
yeah.
for all members.
Strength in
Um,
partnership.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've got some interesting colleagues from the bank who will be coming. So Andy Booth, who covers customer interactions. Again, a lot of our members work in that area, so it will be really good to see, his vision of the future in terms of
Mm,
how, how customer interactions will evolve over the next few months and years. And similar story with David Morris from mortgages. So again, a lot of our members work in that area, so really key for them to hear the messages from the very top. So externally, we've got some really exciting people coming. So we've got a representative coming from the TUC, who will talk to us about the impact of AI on
mm,
the workplace.
yeah.
Really delighted to welcome back Nita Clark to conference. So again, people who've been around will know Nita from IPA Evolve, and we're really delighted to have Nita with us. We've also got some representatives coming from the Bank Workers Charity, and again, I know that's something that's very dear to a lot of members' hearts.
Mm,
They've been a massive source of support for a number of members for a variety of reasons, and they do great work, and it's a great opportunity for them to come and talk to our members and our reps around some of the services that they can provide, so that when our members are having those conversations with representatives
mm,
at any level, they'll be able to confidently point them in the right direction, etc., for the support that they need. We've also got some colleagues from the P&C team coming, people and culture team, and again, our representatives will work very closely with them when supporting members in a number of processes, disciplinaries, grievances, that kind of thing. And it'd be really great to provide an introduction to people and allow people to understand what it looks like from the other side of the fence, but also to make some of those connections, which is really valuable when supporting members. Ultimately, the role of a union representative is to manage relationships, and some of those key relationships will be within the bank, and it's a great opportunity for for reps to network in
mm.
a less formal setting, and they can see what we're about, and we can see what they're about.
So it sounds like it's a pretty full agenda up in Manchester. So yeah, I'm looking forward to conference, finding out what it's all about. So Jim, we covered a lot of ground there today, and thanks for your time. I know you're very busy. So we're gonna pause it there for today. Thank you for your time. It's been really engaging, very enlightening, and hopefully given some members some insight into the work that goes on behind the scenes at Advance. So, Jim, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you hopefully very soon on the next podcast from Advance on Air. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.